We have another exciting week ahead with the CPE print on Friday. We have the Magnificent Eight, not all of them, but multiples of them, earnings reports coming up this week. And that isn't all. I'll lay out all of the stuff that's happening this week down below in just a second. And then the next week, we're going to have the Fed meeting. We don't even have a chance to take a breath. Right now, the market is moving based on one metric and one metric only, the 10-year bond yield. That is, of course, also tied to inflation. So people are paying attention to inflation as another metric. There will be a day in the future when this will not be the case. And on the other side of the coin, if yields go to 5.5% or 5.25%, I don't think it's going to kill the economy. That's just my opinion. We've had much higher rates than that. Anybody that's over 45 has certainly seen in their professional lifetime rates much higher. And, even in the 90s, we had rates over 5%. So it's not going to kill the economy. Of course, I think the odds are very low that it's going to go over 5% or stay over 5%. And I actually think that bonds will be headed up, which means yields will be headed in a negative way. This is not investment advice. Nothing I'm going to say today is going to be investment advice. Please keep that in mind. All right, this is Randy Kirk. As usual, tomorrow morning at 7:10 California time, we will have After the Bell, and we'll talk about what I think is going to happen that day, what the news has been overnight with regard to Tesla and the financial markets, and what I'm seeing in that first 10 or 15 minutes as things open up. You also, if you missed this morning's episode, which was well received, quite a good viewing, we talked about the Morgan Stanley $550 bull case. They gave a lot of detail, and that might be something you want to look at. I'll give you a card on that later in the show. And then today is a perfect day to join Patreon and get news all day long, anytime it's breaking. Now, there hasn't been any yesterday, I don't think. Maybe there was at least one, and there hasn't been any today because there hasn't been any breaking news. Now, in sum total, keep watching because there's certainly news that you want to see that is taking place right now. All right, so I want to say this. I said this about a week and a half ago. I want to repeat it. I still don't see any market reaction to the war in Israel. I don't see any market reaction to the continued war in the Ukraine. Even the massing spending package that came out last week, $110 billion, doesn't seem to be affecting markets unless it might be contributing to keeping the bond yields, up close to 5%. But other than that, can you tell me in the comments, is there any other effect you're seeing in the markets? Not oil prices, not gold price. Maybe gold prices are up quite a bit. Maybe that's it. The flight to safety in gold. I don't follow the cryptocurrencies except to tell you what's going on. They've been up, I know. Anyway, we'll move on. All right. So it turns out that the Cybertruck showed up at the Formula One Grand Prix in Austin today. Perhaps Elon Musk was attending the Grand Prix, and it turns out, yes, he was. He drove his Cybertruck over to the Austin Grand Prix and watched that with his son, X. So good for you, Elon, having a nice day out with the child. And of course, what does that tell us about how quickly, wherever the Cybertruck goes, there's going to be pictures, there's going to be talk. All right. Tesserati says that Tesla used far less water at Giga Berlin than it is approved for. We're not talking about like 2/3. We're not talking about 50%. No, it used like 80% less. It used like 20% of what it was approved for. So that should help them get their new permitting through on the next phase. So let's talk about the PCE. It would be easy to say that the PCE print this Friday will be the biggest news ever. Like how every single election in the United States, or maybe even around the world, this will be the most important election ever. You got to make sure and vote because there's no bigger. Well, even without the hyperbole, the PCE this week is going to either maintain the current narrative that inflation is handled and improving. I believe that's what the stock market believes, or it is going to cause damage to that narrative. And if it causes damage, it could either slow down or stop the bull. Moreover, while it would take a shocking miss to cause a significant shift in sentiment regarding the Fed pause in November, it could cause, on a big miss, it could cause folks to worry about the December Fed meeting. That's it, yeah. Now, on the other side, if it beats then that's going to make the December hike off the table. And I think if it beats significantly or beats even a little bit, even if it's like right on the nose or beats a tiny bit, I think we start to see the bull continue. And I think we start to see the bonds going up, meaning, of course, that the yields go down. Okay, Tesla will also be affected if the PCE is a good number. It will be a relief to those who agree with Elon about interest rates already high and going higher and a potential recession. Because if, in fact, inflation is under control and the rates start coming down, the opportunity or the likelihood of a recession next year becomes even less, of course, which I believe is already off the table. Anyway, there are, of course, I disagree with Elon. I mean, let's face it. He's been calling for a recession now for a year and a half at least. I've been saying no recession for at least the 10 months that I've had this show, and before that as well, but you don't know that because then you weren't watching me. Anyway, there are, of course, other economic reports and corporate earnings that will impact markets this week. At least this week, there's no Fed speeches. That's nice. Anyway, let's take a look. Nothing on Monday. On Tuesday, we've got the S&P Case-Shiller Home Price Index. That will be for September, so we could see flat to slightly up. The market is expecting to be slightly down. They'll also have the flash U.S. manufacturing PMI and the flash PMI for services as well. The market is expecting both of those to be down. That would be bad because we want the market, we want the economic thing to be doing well. I believe that it's the time right now. It's better for the markets. It's better for the economy. It's better for everybody if the economy is doing okay, is doing fine. So if the purchasing managers are seeing softness, if they're seeing things deteriorating, which is what the street says that they think that these purchasing managers are going to say, then that's not good, except it would be good for the Fed because they would make them believe that inflation is going to be down because of that. All right, on Wednesday, which I can't report until Thursday, that'll be new home sales. The market is expecting that to increase a little bit. Again, I'd be shocked. I think it will not increase. They're saying 682,000 compared to 675 last month. Maybe there was some residual coming out of summer. I don't know. Again, I don't follow this closely enough but in general, what I'm hearing is that there's hardly any activity because nobody's selling. Okay. Then we got Thursday. We have a lot of good stuff, a lot of interesting stuff on Thursday. We got the gross domestic product, which will be out in time for me to report. The street is thinking that's going to go from 2.1%, which was the print last month, to 4.5%. That'll be interesting. No idea on that one. I'm not gonna chime in on that one. And then initial jobless claims, they're saying will be slightly up from last week, but in that same range, around 200,000. They're saying 206. Then durable goods orders will be in. They're saying that is going to increase dramatically from last month's 0.2% to 2%. 2%. Wow. On durable goods orders. Durable goods minus transportation, they don't even have a number. That's interesting. So I'm not sure where they're seeing all these durable goods orders coming in all of a sudden. I don't know. I'm a little confused here. Then we also have the advanced U.S. trade balance in goods. No, the street doesn't have an opinion on that one. I don't either. Retail inventories coming in. No street expectations on that one either. I would expect inventories to be up a little bit based on what I'm hearing. Wholesale inventories, I would also expect to be up a little bit based on other things that we've been reporting on. And then finally, something I won't be able to report until Friday, pending home sales. They're believing that is going to be down 1%. That definitely comports to what I'm hearing, although that would be slightly better than last month, where pending home sales dropped 7%. Could be much bigger than this 1% that they're talking about it dropping. Then on Friday, it's all about core PCE, except for something I can't report on until Friday night, which is the consumer sentiment. That will be coming in, and the street believes that's going to be around 63 compared to 63.2, just slightly up from 63. I don't know. I would bet against that. I would say consumer sentiment will be down compared to previous prints. Okay, personal income. They're saying that that's going to come in at 0.4, which is the same as last month. I think the same as the month before. Probably. I think that's probably good. Spending, they're saying, goes up to 0.5 compared to 0.4 last month. Maybe, but I don't know. All right. Then we've got the PCE index itself. They're not giving us anything on that one. That would be what we would call the headline number. It was 0.4 last month. They have no opinion on that. I'm hoping that that is going to be showing down. We've got the core, which was 0.1% last month. They're saying that's going to increase. The street believes it's going to increase to 0.3. The core, which takes away energy and food, no, I don't think it'll be 0.3. I think I'm going to come in at 0.2 on that one. PCE year over year was 3.5 last month, and they're not going to give us a number on that one either. And then core PCE, core year over year, they're saying it drops from 3.9 to 3.7. I'm hoping for less than that. I don't have any basis for that, except everything tells me that we're overstating the inflation rate, and primarily that would be trueflation, which is showing us at around 2.3 at this point. So I don't know why we're not able to see this dropping under 3%. Anyway, that is all the reporting that's coming in this week, except, of course, for the earnings reports. Who do we have? Oh, Microsoft. Oh, yeah. Oh, Google. Oh, yeah. Meta. Okay. Amazon. Other than that. Oh, yeah. ExxonMobil, Ford, and General Motors. So I'm expecting that I don't have a lot to say about any of this. I don't follow them closely, any of them closely, but I am expecting overall the earnings season to do well based on what the beginning of the earnings season is, gives you some clue about how it's going to end. And so far, it's looking good. All right. The other one that's going to report this week is UPS. Now, I'd like to pay special attention to trucking as a canary in the coal mine. If you're not moving freight, that's not a good thing. You got to move. If the economy is going to move along, you need a couple of things. You need people working. You need people bringing home paychecks. You need people bringing home more money, preferably. And then you need trucks to be moving freight. If there's no trucks moving freight, that's a bad sign. Well, right now, the UPS numbers will help us this week. But I've been listening to analysts, and some of these analysts are saying that we've had a very long trucking recession. The rates are way, way down, which is helping the economy, of course, helping the inflation problem. But they're beginning to see a trickle up. They're beginning to see the beginnings of maybe the end of this trucking recession. However, they say, and others say, not in time for Christmas. So a bunch of folks are saying that Christmas is not going to be that great this year. Take that with whatever grain of salt you want. I think it's probably it's always better than they think it's going to be, even when they think it's not going to be great. So people just find a way, to spend that money for Christmas. Business Insider did a review comparing Tesla to the Mercedes EQE SUV. You can read it for yourself, or just trust me that this writer was watching out for future advertising revenue from Mercedes. He is a perfect example of the absolute reality that editorial does pay attention to the real potential to lose or make more money from advertisers. It's just a fact. Don't believe anybody that tells you otherwise. I have bought so much advertising over my 50-plus year career. I have bought advertising everywhere but television. I've bought radio. I've bought bus bench ads. I've bought magazines. I've bought consumer magazines and industrial magazines. And I can tell you that the editorial people care. All right. And this article is a perfect example. They start off with a glowing commentary on the Tesla Model Y. And then they try their best to find some way to cover Mercedes. They note that the interior of the Mercedes is more luxurious and the ride is smoother, and that they have more buttons. They also say that if you want luxury and you have plenty of money, it's an easy decision. They don't even bother to look up the current price of $50,130 for the long range SUV Tesla Model Y. That's before the $7,500 IRA discount, bringing it down to $43,000. The EQE is $79,000 or more. So maybe the luxury of a little leather trim, a second screen, a more comfy ride, and a shield that can block you from the sun. I've never had an issue. We drive the Model Y in Southern California, in the desert. We've never ever felt hot in the cabin. Never felt the beating down of the sun. You don't need anything to cover the Tesla, the Tesla window. Anyway, the article even fails to make genuine comparisons on things like the storage space, the performance, and the range. They do sing the praises of the entertainment system, the over-the-air updates, and the quickness in handling. Okay, but it was not a very fair. They sung the praises. I will say that all day long. But man, did they cover Mercedes? Well, this headline is getting a ton of showcasing on the internet. I've seen it everywhere, even on the Drudge Report. Elon Musk's finances may crash Tesla stock to the ground. Now, I don't know whether I lost faith in the Drudge Report a long time ago. They're completely useless anymore. But I do look once in a while, and I saw it there today. This article is horribly written. It has a nonsensical analysis. It has incorrect statements, not just misinformation. These are absolutely factually the opposite of the truth. And they never even try to make sense, to make a case for their headline. So ignore that particular article unless you just like to have a good laugh. I can't believe that this article got past editorial. It's horrible. And I've seen a lot of horrible writing about Tesla. Okay, what about tomorrow? I say the bonds stay under 5%. I think they probably fall some tomorrow, even though they are up slightly in the pre-market. I think markets up just like they are in the pre-market. Let's take a look. Why don't we just look at the real numbers here real quick? Let's look. We'll start with the pre-market. The Nasdaq's up 45. The Dow is up 76. The S&P is up 12. The Bitcoin is down 187, but still right about 30,000. So that's quite good for the Bitcoin. The dollar is about the same. Gold is down 11, but it's still way up at the top, 1982. Could easily, if the war continues, this might be the one place we're seeing it. Maybe the crypto too, I don't know. And then we get into oil, which is down 35 cents at $89, so staying right there. And then we've got bonds. Oh, okay, 3 basis points to 4.954, just slightly up from where we started this particular episode. Again, I think maybe bonds tomorrow end up actually falling. I don't think they'll break through 5. I really, really don't. Of course, none of that is investment advice. Tesla will follow the NASDAQ. You've heard me say this before. But right now, barring any other news, that's what Tesla is going to do. None of the really, really big things that need to happen have happened yet. And until they do, then Tesla is, I think, going to follow the NASDAQ unless there is something else to report on. I think they will slowly be inching up. As you know, this is not my firm quote. This is just kind of I think where we're going to be around 275 by the end of the month, maybe the beginning of November. So here's that card for the review of the new Morgan Stanley letter with the $550 bull case. Don't forget to join me early tomorrow and then catch Brian White later in the day. I also have a pretty cool episode lined up for tomorrow afternoon, unless breaking news gets in the way of that. And that might change my plan. But on this particular episode, I'm going to admit to being wrong. Again, yes, I know. I know. I don't want to, but I was. And so I'm going to tell you about it. All right. And then, of course, we want you to buy. I can't find mine. Okay, there's one right there on the shelf. We want you to buy some Cybertruck bottle openers. We want you to buy them for all your friends. And because we want you to buy them for all your friends, I've got the very hottest deal ever going. And that is one for $25. These are the best they're ever going to be. So you better grab them. I might go back to normal next week. I don't know. $25 for one, $45 for two, $65 for three, $210 for 10. That's $21 a piece. Okay, so you can really get a good deal right now. And $400 flat if you want to buy 20. That's only $20 a piece. All right, that's how much better is it going to get than that? Please let me know how many of those should be camo and how many of them should be stainless. please let me know. Yeah, that's all you need to let me know. If you're outside the country, please add $20 to all of those prices to help me defer the export freight, or the over the border freight, if you will, to Canada. Yeah, so, also, you want to join Patreon, and in that case, you can get a Cybertruck in camo or in stainless. You get one for free if you join at the $10 level. Thank you so much. Lots and lots and lots of new folks joining Patreon the last week and a half or so. I so appreciate your support for the channel, and look forward to gabbing with you up there. We have a lot of great conversations over on Patreon. I do tend to try, I think I pretty much answer or respond to almost every direct message that I receive on Patreon. All right, that's all I got for right now. I look forward to seeing you in the morning, bright and early, to see what the market is doing tomorrow. It has been great talking to you.